Hey X, I'm new to this board and consider myself a hopeful skeptic. I would love to believe in the paranormal, but I have not seen enough convincing evidence to believe it wholesale. That being said, I have had one experience in my life that, while may be able to be explained rationally, is full of bizarre and unsettling things that I do not have explanations for. I don't normally triple code, but I figured I would for the purposes of telling this story. I suck at green texting, so sorry, you can't be me. But anyway, here's my tell about a place called DEADMAN'S Maze. I grew up in Arizona, and during my junior year of high school, I heard a rumor from my older brother's friend about this really strange and creepy place him and some guys stumbled upon. What I got out of him was that it was called DEADMAN'S Maze, or simply The Maze. It was a large fenced property that held within a large maze filled to the brim with weird shit and small houses in the center. Apparently people have seen ghosts or other paranormal shit there. The backstory that gave me was the old guy who lived in the house started constructing this maze for the granddaughter. She unexpectedly died, and out of grief he just continued to add to the maze for her. Apparently she was even buried on the property. They also mentioned that he may or may not have been in some kind of cult, and that the maze might have also had some significance to that, but naturally I thought my older brother and his friend were just fucking with me. And to this day, I think some of the details they gave me were added in to do that. But they were reluctant to give me more details and really try to scare me out of finding it. At the time I thought it was a tactic just to keep it a secret and kept pushing for the exact spot, and eventually they relented. But they told me I really shouldn't go, as from what they knew, the guy who lived on the property was fucking nuts and would probably attack me or even kill me if he caught me. I told my group of friends as soon as I get the chance. There was 7 of us in the group, including me. I won't post the names, but let's call them red, blue, green, orange, brown, and purple. Red was my buddy I knew all the way back from elementary school. He became kind of a jock, but we stayed good friends and still are. Blue, green, and orange were Red's jock's buddy and more of a friends of a friend. But they were cool dudes. Brown and purple were my 2 closest friends and still are. All in all, we were a weird mix of jocks, skaters, and nerds. Well, we all had a lot of fun doing stupid shit, so naturally this maze business was right up our alley, and we all decided we absolutely have to fucking go. Late one Saturday night, we meet up and get into Red's truck to find the maze. We drive around the part of Phoenix my bro and his friend told me it was in, looking for a church across the street from a school near a small mountain called Lookout Mountain. Eventually we find the neighborhood, but as per my bro and his friend's directions, we need to park the truck near a small green belt and walk out of the neighborhood on a small dirt road that leads to the base of the mountain. Once we found the green belt, we see where the street just randomly fucking ends to the west and a small dirt road starts. It's seriously strange, like a fully developed neighborhood just abruptly ends and becomes desert. As we start walking up the dirt trail and continue on, we slowly start to see the outline of a small fence and realize we're getting close, so we try to go stealth mode as we approach the property. When we get to an opening in the fence, the first fucking thing I see is a replica of the Sphinx. It was probably about 12 to 15 feet tall, and all the eyes were painted in a really unsettling way, so I'm already creeped out, and we haven't even stepped in yet. I quietly point it out and we all kind of nervously giggle and whisper stupid jokes about the power of Ra and shit, but we all slowly creep through the fence opening into the maze proper. Holy shit, this place was bizarre. Shortly past the Sphinx was a goddamn fucking replica of the fucking Stonehenge, albeit with smaller rocks but still large enough to walk through. We were all slowly walking around just soaking in the oddities, but so far nothing really scary happened. But man, did that change real fucking quick. As we moved past Minihenge, I noticed bird cages hanging on a few poles sort of randomly placed around the sides of the trail. At first it looked empty, but as we got closer to one I realized that was not the case. We found a decomposed, nearly skeletal bird corpse in the first one, and other small bones in the others. This immediately killed the sort of creepy funhouse vibe we had up to this point. Purple whispered that whoever leaves dead birds out like that clearly has issues, and that maybe we should just turn around, but the jock trio peer pressured him and the rest into continuing forward. Eventually we came in a bend of the trail, and got a good view of the property. Calling this place a maze wasn't entirely accurate. It was more of a trail that slowly spiraled to the center where a small house was. As we kept going on the trail, we came up to the series of small shacks, some of which had windows, and in one of those windows I see a pale white face staring back at me, Just about to shit myself before I realize it appears to be a doll's face. So my pants shitting gets downgraded to a light pissing of the pants. Again, I point this out to the group and we all kind of nervously laugh and try to get closer look to confirm it isn't going to steal our souls or whatever. We are starting to get close to the house and notice on the other side it looks like a floodlight is on the outside. At this point, we should have just gotten the fuck out of there. But being a group of teenage boys, we are too fucking dumb to realize that and slowly creep around the side. That was the moment where things went from creepy and unsettling to absolutely life or death terrifying. The floodlight was aimed down near a shovel. Next to the shovel was a freshly dug hole that was the perfect size for a body. In other words, it looked like whoever was there was digging a fucking grave. We all sort of froze when I noticed movement back behind the corner of the house. I nudged Red and a nod in the direction and we see a figure standing behind the floodlight outside of its glow, so we cannot make out any features. We all kind of freeze as it kind of feels like a standoff, but before we could process our situation, the floodlight shuts off and out of instinct, we all scatter. This is when I immediately regret bringing the jocks, as red, blue, green, and orange take off full speed and are out of sight. Brown, purple, and I book it back out to the trail to get to the road and toward Red's truck. When we passed the shack again, the face in the window was fucking gone and the door was fucking open. The three of us are now shouting, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" And we can hear shuffling from behind us, so we all bank into the dirt and bushes to just run straight to the fence and jump it to get back to the dirt road. As we get back onto the street, a fucking van screeches up out of nowhere and stops in between us and the truck. And I shit you not, a group of people in white robes start jumping out from the back of the van and start silently running towards us. The outfits almost looked like the KKK, but without the pointy hoods, and there was at least 5 or 6 of them. At this point, I'm beginning to realize I might fucking die tonight, and apparently so did Brown and Purple because they took off leaving me stranded. I fucking bolt as fast as I can into the neighborhood across the road and start running down the sidewalk. I was not athletic in the slightest, so even with fear and adrenaline, my endurance was starting to fail me, and I start slowing down. That's when I hear tires screeching behind me towards the entrance of this neighborhood. I look around for a place to hide as there's no way I'm outrunning the fucking van, and eventually decide to dive behind a bush in a front yard. I curl up into a ball and try to lay totally still, as I can make out headlights slowly coming up near the yard. I'm in and my breathing stops, as I can't tell if they see me or not. The van fucking stopped for a second and I start tearing up as I think this is fucking it and I'm dead. But then the van slowly drives and past and turns onto the end of the street. Once the headlights are gone, I start gasping for air, try to calm myself and get up to start kind of slowly power walking back to the sidewalk to get out of the neighborhood. I make it close to the exit back out of the main street when I hear tires squeal again, and behind see the van turn back into the street towards me. I run as fast as I possibly can back towards the green belt, but as I approach, I see that Red's truck is fucking gone. I just sort of stop and freeze as the reality of the situation washes over me. The van is moments from seeing me in the middle of the street and there's no way I can hide in time. I really might fucking die now, I think, as my mind races to find some way out of this. Then I see the beams of headlights behind me. I turn around and see Red trucks barreling down and he slams the brakes to the side of me. And before I have time to react, Blue and Green hop out of the truck and grab me and toss me like a rag doll into the back before jumping back in. I come back to my senses as I see the van peel around the corner and start chasing us as Red fucking floors it out of there. The van chases us through the neighborhood, but once we get to the main road, it's fucking gone. Red slows down a bit and we eventually end up at a Walmart parking lot and he stops and shuts the truck off. We all get out and start laughing nervously, trying to make jokes of the situation. It was obvious we were all scared shitless and just trying to play it off like we weren't, but I think the laughing came from the relief that we all got out of there safely. To this day, I don't know what it was we stumbled upon or who was in the van chasing us. Over the years, we all stayed in touch, and whenever the maze came up, we all just reminisced about how crazy it was. But recently, when I came back to the Phoenix area, I decided to drive by during the day, but now the property is just a large empty dirt lot. Sorry I didn't turn into a Skinwalker Wendigo Topa SCP, and I'm probably not the best storyteller, but this is the closest thing to a paranormal experience I have had, and I wanted to share it.